protest? You want your vote counted? Okay, all those in favour? Excuse me, all those in favour? And against?
Is there someone against?
There was, yeah.
Um,
So let's move on then to submission 18 and 61.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now these weren't specifically directed at the annual plan, but they did ask specific questions nevertheless, and so some explanation can be given or response given to those questions as part of any staff reply on that. Yeah, so pretty much as it's laid out in the officer's report.
No change. We have a seconder for that. Councillor Scott, thank you. Discussion. There being none, I put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye as well. I'm going to suggest we break for 5 minutes very shortly. And against, thank you. Okay. Next one, keep going for another couple.
So the next submitter, Katherine Bayliss, a number of her points are covered or have been covered or are going to be covered in the more general issues that we consulted on, but again there were several points that she specifically wanted to make that are probably RMA matters or for national political debate, but in terms of their impact on the annual plan, there is none.
Okay. No change. Happy to second that, Councillor Pipe. Speakers, you wish to speak? Yep, sure.
Miss Bayliss did wander all over the place. She had a whole lot of issues that she wanted to bring to our mind, but there was one that's close to my heart, her point 7. Big burn-offs and fires that burn or smoulder for more than a day should be banned. So I strongly support her on that. I just want to make that statement. I absolutely strongly support her. It is a disgrace that a section of our community, mostly fruit growers, think they have a right to pollute on a beautiful day. And I just think it's an absolute disgrace, and I will be spending a large amount of my political energy and capital stopping it.
Thank you. Councillor Bevan, you're in favour of burning? Or?
No. I actually want to ask a question. What management controls we can put over this? Because I actually agree with Rex, and I'm guilty. I've done it on my orchard as well, but I now know better. And I tell you, I've taken a lot of overseas guests up the peak to view the beauty of the surroundings where we grow our fruit and what have you. And you've got to be really careful about when you do it, because it's quite difficult to avoid not seeing smoke all over the place, especially in late winter when people are finished pruning. And we do need to do something about this. So I'm interested to know what actions we can actually take to try and manage this much better.
So we have, in relation to burn off on production land, we have rules in the Regional Resource Management Plan that require a person to get a consent to do that anytime from the beginning of May to the end of September, and the consent is restricted discretionary, I think. I'm looking at Mark down the back. Mark's going, yeah. So there is the ability to decline it. It's not a controlled activity. There is the ability to decline, but certainly the key thing is to be able to manage the conditions around, what type of weather conditions you would be looking to burn in, or actually how urgent it is really as well. So there's two ways of actually managing it. If there's a complaint and someone doesn't have a consent, then there's that sort of regulatory path, if you like. But also a second path is if they do have a consent and they're in breach of their conditions. There's also that as well. But it's very much having to first of all educate, because we had a lot of engagement with fruit growers and the general horticulture sector when these rules were being developed, probably about 8 years ago now, and so that's the first thing, is around the education and engagement, and maybe it's time just to refresh that, given there could be turnover of people undertaking these activities, and secondly, any other change to that would actually greater restriction on that would actually require change to the regional resource management plan.
If I could just carry on with this, if you're taking out an orchard or doing, you know, significant pruning or whatever, the problem is that you end up with pieces of wood that are too big to mulch. But best practice is you mulch. So there's absolutely no reason why any orchardist couldn't go through and cull out the larger pieces of wood, and people would be very happy to use those for firewood if they could extract them and mulch what's left. And there's no fire except in appropriate places. And that's, I don't know whether we have a best practice, but that's what should happen.
Okay.
Could I just ask a question, seeing that Mark is in the room? Do we ever prosecute on that basis? Have we done? Have we?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we have.
Okay, so we got well out of shape there, guys. Thank you, Councillor Bevan. No. They it absolutely was Councillor Graham's fault. He did, obviously. So it's been moved and seconded. No further discussion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. I'm going to suggest we do 3 more and break, and which is the 2 rail ones and Mr. Rex McIntyre's one, so he can
Leave.
get on his way. He's got a similar road to drive that I have tonight. Okay, so submit a 35, 109, 139 re-establishment of Napier Gisborne rail services. Any questions on that? Did you like that? Yeah. It's not a question. It's not a question, Councillor Barker. Are there any questions?
You're talking about the 2 on page 4, right?
Well, you've got one from. You've got one supporting re-establishment, and then the other one is environmental impacts of road freight. We'll do them both separately. So the first one, there's no change to the plan.
They're both no change.
And Councillor, so you're happy to second that, Councillor Scott? Anyone wish to speak? Put the motion in. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. The second one, Ken Crispin, Citizens Environmental Advocacy Centre. No change. You happy to move that, Councillor Barker? And a seconder for that, Councillor Dick.
His point about the dangers of a truck tyre pollution of water and air are worth noting.
Okay, so I'll put that motion in. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. And then if we go over to page 64, submission number 122. I just had a question in regard to the consultation process. It was part of the annual plan. Was it any different to any other process? Sorry, I just
skipped so that
just sorry to go to 122 now, and then we're going to have a quick 5-minute break, grab a cup of tea, toilet, stop, whatever. So,
sorry. So
no, it should be here right at the end. I think. So the question to you was in regard to the challenge to the public consultation. Can you please run us through what actually happened there?
Back in 2014-15, or maybe the year early, was 2013-14. Regional Council was approached by Napier Gisborne Rail Line Establishment Group to provide some financial support or an underwrite for the operation of a service from Napier to Gisborne. And Council agreed to consult on that proposal. Didn't agree to it, but agreed to consult on the making financial provision for that. In between, while that consultation was going, Kiwi Rail actually advised NGR that they didn't want to have a bar of actually even looking after the line, so the option came back to the Regional Council actually underwriting the track part of any service rather than becoming a service operator itself. So that consultation took place as part of the annual plan. 3 years ago, and we received quite a significant number of submissions, and a number of those were heard. So that's that part of it. In relation to Mr McIntyre's other point about that the Regional Council undertake a feasibility study of a multi-use corridor concept, that's one of the actions, or one of the potential actions out of the yet-to-be-seen Regional Economic Development Strategy, and Council is committing to taking part in that.
It's also in the land transport plan as to be funded and undertaken by NZTA, and the intention is once the REDS plan comes out, if it confirms what has been indicated, then we will try to accelerate that up the list and get it done, ASAP. The other thing is that in the transport plan itself, we considered submissions, and an outcome of some of those submissions was that the plan provides for, of course, rail re-establishment, but in the event that rail re-establishment proves impossible or unviable, then the Transport Committee would look at options for alternative uses of the rail corridor, given, of course, that there are significant legal impediments that Councillor Barker has referred to, but it's in that plan.
Okay, so that exists in the plan?
Hmm?
That exists in the plan?
In the latest plan, yes.
Yeah, okay. So any further questions of Chief Executive? Someone happy to propose a motion?
No change.
No change to the plan. Councillor Dick, we have a seconder for that. Councillor Barker, you wish to speak further? Councillor Dick? Councillor Barker, you wish to speak? Other speakers? Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. Carried. Thank you. Right, let's break for 5 minutes, adjourn. Look, I'd like to think we're out of here at 4 o'clock. That's the aim. I'd like to be here. We do. Okay.
didn't
No, we
start
don't.
till
No,
11.
we didn't. No.
Didn't
So
start till
that
11.
was nice try, Councillor. I started at 7:30 actually.